Hello, everyone. Welcome to part two for the basic elements of an election. So now we're going to talk about the difference between determining things by majority versus plurality. Most of the time in the voting system in the United States, things are determined by plurality. It just means you got the most votes. So majority is to have more than half of the votes. So if there's 10 votes, you need more than half. Five is not enough. You need one more than half. You need six, right? That would be majority vote. Plurality, that's just to have the most votes. So in the current election we're having, the US president, um, well, we don't even use that for the US president, do we? Okay. So each senator, each congressman, so in each individual election, in all the states but one, the senator is selected by plurality. The most votes wins. That exception is Georgia. I don't know if you've noticed in the news or not, but they do not use a majority system. Both of their senators were running for election, and neither one had a majority. So there's going to be a runoff election, right? So there was clearly a plurality. One of them got very close to getting over 50%. It had like 49 point something. But their system is majority, so now there's going to be a runoff election between the top two. And of course, if you only have two, unless there's a tie, there's going to be a majority. And when the votes are in the millions, it's very unlikely there's going to be a tie. So I believe sometime in December, there's going to be a runoff vote. Maybe it's January in Georgia for the two Senate positions. Okay, so a couple of questions for you about majority winner. If there are four candidates and 800 votes, what's the smallest number of votes a majority winner could have? Now, notice I'm saying smallest. Obviously, if you win 700 votes, you have the majority. 600 votes is the majority. But what's the smallest number of votes you could have for a majority? Well, just figure out what half is, because you need more than half. So just figure out what half is. Right? Notice I don't care how many candidates there are. I need half the votes. So 800 divided by 2, that's 400. So if you got 400 votes, you would not have the majority. You need more than 400. So the answer is 401. Okay. We'll do the same thing here. Majority winner, you need more than half. So here's how many voters there are. Half of that. So if you received 550 votes, you would not win by majority. You need more than half. So that would be 551. Again, notice I didn't look at the number of candidates for majority winner. You just need more than half the votes. Now, when you determine what's necessary for plurality, it's a little bit trickier because now you do have to pay attention to how many candidates there are. So if there are four candidates and 800 voters, what's the smallest number of votes a plurality winner could have? So I'm going to do a for instance where if there's a tie. So let's say they all get 200. In theory, it's possible that they all four get 200. So 200 votes would not be enough. They all received 200. Now, if one voter changed their mind, say this one of these voters, say, I don't want to vote for this person. I want to vote for this person. Now we have a winner. And the way to determine that number, that minimum number, that 201, is just to take the number of voters divided by 4, and that's 200. Now that would be a four-way tie, right? Four-way, 200 each, that's a tie. So you need one more than that. So you need 201. Okay? Here, what if there are 1,100 voters and 7 candidates? Again, 1,100 voters or votes divided by 7 candidates. That turns out to be 157.14. Okay. So of course you can't get 157.14. You need to go up to the next whole number. So if you had 158 votes, you would be the winner, right? So you just go up to the next whole number. When you're determining plurality, the number of voters divided by the number of candidates and go to the next whole number. Even if you have a whole number, go up to the next whole number. And we're now going to do one little bit of a challenging problem here, all right? We're going to try to complete this preference schedule with some limited information. So here we go. We have 500 shareholders of this Duke Electric Company. They're going to vote for the next chairperson. 32%, that's right here, preferred person B to A, and they preferred person A to C. So they preferred B to A, but they preferred A to C. So these 32% clearly voted B, A, C. The 24%, that's this column here, preferred C to A and A to B. They preferred voter C to voter A, and they preferred A to B. And then the remainder, the rest of the voters, that's this column, preferred A the most and C the least. So A the most, C the least, that would place B in the middle. And then we want to now figure out how many voters voted for each one of these orderings. All right, so we got to figure out, okay, so 32% of the voters, remember there's 500 voters, so I've got to figure out 32% of 500. Remember, we've done a little bit of work with percents. So 0.32 times 500, that gives me 160. So now I know 160 people voted in this order. Got to do 24%. 24% of, remember, there were 500 voters. So 0.24 times 500, and that gives me 120. And now we need the rest of the voters. So I know there were 500, and I know how many I have here already. That's a total of 280. So there were 500 voters. 280 of the votes are already taken care of here. That leaves me with 220. So I know 220 voters had this preference.